Hello and welcome to The Creative Life. I'm Cheryl Fall. On today's episode, we're at the Kona Premium Coffee Plantation in Haleakala, Hawaii, learning all about premium hand-picked coffees. Join us as we create a Hawaiian-style birdhouse and decoupage a wooden purse with island accents. So David, where do your trees come from? Do you grow them yourself? Do you buy seedlings?
We grow our own trees here from seed, and coffee breeds true. So you can take the seed from a tree, plant it, and get the same characteristics.
Oh.
And we constantly are replacing trees. Any tree that is genetically weak or gets sick, we're putting in new fields all the time. These are where we grow the seeds. This seed tray holds about 500 seeds, and they're growing now. And in about a month, we'll begin to get little seedlings like this. And that's what they look like when they come up.
And they're actually grown from a bean?
Yes. So the beans, up until the time that you put them in the roaster, are alive.
Oh,
they're
okay.
viable seeds, and you can plant them and grow new trees from them.
Really? So anything that hasn't been roasted yet is still a potential coffee tree?
Yep. That's why in the warehouse we're very quiet, because they're sleeping.
Makes sense. So tell me a little bit about this variety of bean.
These are all Arabica coffee trees, and very large size beans. They're called Kona typica in this area, but the species was developed over about 30 years by a combination of the University of Hawaii and George Yasuda. So these are unusual trees for Kona. That's why they're producing fruit this time of year. The trees are bigger, they're more robust, and they make fruit 12 months a year rather than just the typical 6.
Oh, really?
Yes, and most of the beans are very large size, which is the prized kind of coffee.
And this is called the cherry, correct?
Yes, these are cherries, and it actually is
I
like a
broke
cherry,
this one open.
and only in this case you save the pit and throw away the pulp.
And get rid of the outside.
And they have a kind of a good flavor. They taste a little bit like a green pepper.
Oh, that's not bad. You could almost eat that by itself.
Yeah.
So then these are the beans inside.
Yes.
And they're still covered with like a membrane there.
That's called mucilage. And we have a machine that actually does just what you did with your thumb, only very, very fast. And that's how the beans are popped out of the skins.
Now, I noticed that you pick all your beans by hand. Is this a normal way to pick it?
Most of the coffee in the world, about 95%, is not picked by hand, but is either strip picked, where they'll take everything on a branch and strip it one time. You get greens, you get beans that are way beyond their prime. Other ways of producing is to allow the cherry to actually dry to a kind of a raisin and fall on the ground, and then pick them up then and hull them at that point. Kona coffee is hand-picked. That's one of the reasons it's so expensive. For instance, on this farm last year, we picked 125 million beans approximately by hand. And that's a lot of work for very talented people.
Now, David, why are some of these rows shorter than these other rows? We've got some really tall ones, and then we've got this short one stuck in here.
Oh, we're doing something a little unusual here. We're using a pruning style that has been reborn in Kona. It's the Fukunaga pruning style, which was developed by a University of Hawaii researcher named Fukunaga. And his technique was to every year prune one row, and on a 3-year cycle. So you have these steps of trees, which a short row, a middle row, and a tall row.
So it's every 3rd row?
Yes.
Okay.
And what that does is the production of the orchard goes up, the quality of the beans go up, and you get coffee every year.
So traditionally they would just, if they weren't using that method, they would just cut everything down in an orchard and wait a full year for it to come back?
Yes. They would stump the orchard every 3 to 4 years. You lose a year to 2 years of good production. And if you're in the roasted coffee business like we are, it's hard to get a customer and then tell them come back in 2 years and we'll have
Right.
more coffee. So the Fukunaga is healthier for the coffee, and it's more in line with the kind of business that we have.
Oh, that's interesting. So what's Ruben putting up on the platform here?
Oh, these are bags that have just been picked in the field of cherry coffee, and they're ready for the pulping operation.
So these are all the red ones with the skin still on them,
Yes.
okay? And what do we do over here?
The machine does, as we talked about before, the same thing of pinching the beans out of the cherry.
Okay.
And the machine does it very rapidly, about 1 ton per hour.
Wow.
So the beans have to be pulped on the same day that they're picked or the following morning, or they'll lose freshness.